for that moment, I felt a little bit like I went dancing. But, anyway, directly after that, she said, but it had a very profound effect on me, so that's what I hope to do tonight. One more thing, we'll have to suspend your disbelief. Imagine that I'm a 14-year-old. The calendar posted over the desk is a giant red circle around today's date. Thursday, August 12th, 1993. Encompassed by that red circle are the words, Perseid meteor shower. It peaks tonight. My name is Naomi Pace. At 14, I'm already 5'10". I cut my blonde hair as short as my mother will allow, which is roughly chin length. I have no interest in wearing makeup or dresses. I like wearing oversized overalls. They let me hide my body from the world. I spend a lot of my time catching any critter that moves and will fit into my half-gallon mason jar. Usually, Tiffany is somewhere nearby. I think that I want to be a biologist. Tiffany says she wants to be a writer. Even when she follows me into the woods, Tiffany has a book, notepad, and pen. We live in a small town named Rocky Mountain. Despite the name, there are no mountains to be found. Rather, it's nestled in the northern coastal plains of North Carolina. Essentially, we live in a swamp, which suits me just fine. I'm still looking for my first alligator. Tiffany sleeps over most weekends. I assume it's to escape her mother for a while. Her mom isn't a bad person, but she's a lousy parent. I'm an only child. Tiffany has an older sister named Leslie. Leslie is 16 and just purchased her first car, a white, four-door 1986 Toyota Corolla. Tiffany is at home right now, making sure Leslie will come through and give us a ride to the city lake later tonight, which is where we intend to view the meteor shower. I hear the back door open. Tiffany doesn't knock or use a key. I can tell it's her by the light footsteps. Tiffany is only 5'2" and usually wears a pair of black Chuck Taylors, thus the slight footfall. But if we're talking about looks, the most striking thing about Tiffany is her bright red hair and pale freckled skin. Her eyes are light blue, mine are green. What did she say, I asked. She wasn't nice about it, but yeah, she'll pick us up at 8. At least we don't have to be stuck with her in the car for long. Tiffany looks at her feet as though she feels embarrassed about how her sister yells and berates her. I don't make mention of it now because it would make Tiff upset. Instead, I deflect to a pleasant idea. How about we go to the creek? Okay, Tiffany says softly. Stony Creek is only about a half block from my house and through a neighbor's yard. Tiffany and I have a usual spot. It's an outcrop of large rocks left over from a long ago eroded mountain range. She always sits on the big one closest to the shore while I traipse out, tiptoeing over the smaller boulders with a fishing pole. I fish the next 3 hours away, using a light spin caster bait with a white needle spin. Tiffany reads quietly. I can tell whatever Leslie said to her is being digested by her mind in the way that chewed up glass is by intestines. Around 7:30, Tiffany looks up from her book and says, "We need to get back to the house. Leslie will be here in 30 minutes. We put together a backpack with 2 blankets, a canteen of water, a bag of chips, a star map, and a flashlight. We hear a horn honk outside. A flash of anguish goes over Tiffany's face. Yep, that's her, she says. I sling the backpack over my left shoulder as we make our way through the back door. I don't bother to lock it. I sit in the front passenger seat because I'm the tallest, and Tiffany sits behind Leslie so she can have the legroom not taken up by her equally short sister. Without a word, Leslie backs quickly down this short gravel driveway. She cranks up the radio. It's Runaway Train by Soul Asylum. As our destination comes into view, Wygo by Pearl Jam blasts forth at an unbearable volume. Leslie turns onto the drive, encircling the lake. She stops in the road directly across from the bridge and we get out. We walk across the short arched bridge to the round man-made island. It's made of treated wood and has white handrails. There's a white gazebo off to the left and luckily not another soul. Hopefully it will remain our private island tonight. Most of the older teenagers are 200 yards away in a dimly lit parking lot, showing off their large pickups and IROC Camaros. I plop my bag down near the edge of the island, furthest from the bridge. I pull out one blanket and lay it on the ground. I sit on the blanket and pull out the other blanket. Tiff sits on my right. We unfurl the second blanket and lay on top of ourselves. The ground is soft, the air still, the sky clear. Perfect. The only hitch is the light emanating from the distant parking lots. As we lay there, I ask, how many stars do you think there are? There are as many or as few as you wish. How? The universe is infinite. It's up to your discretion how you want to handle such a staggering concept. The manner in which you perceive it won't change its unknowable nature. We go quiet as the first white streaks burn through our atmosphere. We watch as they come in all directions. The larger ones burn green. The green color is due to the copper content, Tiff says. I already knew, but I didn't tell her. Do you think each one of those stars has a planet with life, Tiff asks? I don't know. She turns her head toward me and says, of course there's life beyond Earth. How can you be so sure? Its distance is so big, it can't just be us. I lie quiet and thought for a moment before replying, it doesn't matter, we are so small. That's how you choose to see it, Naomi. Just because I love you doesn't mean we always have to agree. But if there is not an ultimate answer, what's the point? This, Tiff replies while slipping her trembling left hand into mine. She hesitates. I reach my free hand over and gently pull her face toward mine. As our lips touch, I am transported, no longer aware of anything but her. We continue to hold hands and kiss. We wrap our arms around each other and pull ourselves closely as physics will allow. I want to disintegrate together, combine our atoms, drift into oblivion, and experience the infinite joy of our togetherness. We stay intertwined longer than either of us realize. Tiffany! I hear a shriek across the placid waters. It's Leslie. What are you, some kind of lesbos? I can feel Tiff's hand begin to shake, but not like before. This time it's pure terror. We both pop up and whip our heads and torsos around simultaneously to see her no more than 5 yards behind us. Leslie looks like a portrait of her mother if it were painted by an unaccomplished artist. Both are short, have blonde hair, blue eyes. Leslie has bangs cut into her blonde hair that she felt the need to poof up with hairspray and a blow dryer. Despite how ridiculous she looks, her sudden materialization creates a slow, heavy feeling in my bowels. My brain, charged up on adrenaline, makes everything appear slower. To me, she's no different than encountering a large bear at the same distance. Leslie walks toward us, fast and with intent. She doesn't speak, just breathes heavily, frowning, with her nose pointed upward. She almost looks as though it looks like someone who has smelt something putrid. Get up now, she screams, grabbing Tiffany by her left arm. As her arm is pulled out from under her, Tiffany's face slams to the ground. Leslie begins to drag Tiffany face down toward the bridge. Tiffany screams, "You're hurting me," in response. Hearing her scream in pain ignites something primal inside of me. I hop to my feet and grab a hold of Leslie's left wrist with both hands. I keep my left hand on her wrist and slide the right underneath Leslie's elbow and extend her arm straight. Leslie stops pulling due to the pain caused as I turn her wrist one way and her elbow the other. As she looks up, her eyes meet mine. I see the doubt she has in her physical abilities take hold as she realizes how much larger I am than her, despite my young age. "If you don't let her go, I will break your arm," I growl in her face. She immediately releases Tiffany's left wrist, leaving her face down in the grass. Tiff looks up just in time to see me break Lindsay's arm anyway.